As is often the case, a lot of the videos we do on horror here for public consumption is based on questions. Sometimes students' questions, sometimes outside questions. So today a question came up this morning about a discussion that's going on in Tibet in the last 24 hours about a painting of Rongzom Chokyi Lodro. Rongzom Chokyi Lodro is a really kind of enigma teacher from the 11th century, but he was also very much involved with the Sarma teachings that were coming in to the Himalayas in Tibet at that time. Now the question here is: Are all paintings of Rongzom are they actually of Rongzom, or are they Marpa? Because there can be a lot of confusion between Marpa, Rongzom, Sonam Semo, and Trokpa Gyaltsen, and sometimes Drom Tonpa. So we have 5 people who are all lay figures, and they're all early. They're all 11th and 12th century, pretty much. And they can look alike. They're lay people. They often have long hair, and they have long flowing multicolored garments. They can also have a mustache. Now, I just want to talk briefly about the Marpa situation. Now, Marpa can be confused with some of these others, especially since with some early paintings or early sculpture, he can be shown with curly hair. And this is what we can find sometimes with Trokpa Gyaltsen and Sonam Semo as well, from the same or almost the same time period. But what we have to be mindful of is, more importantly, is the context. And now not for sculpture, of course, because most sculpture are removed from their sets. They're no longer sequential and with the group that they were created with. But with paintings, we have to be very mindful of the context of the rest of the composition as to whether or not it seems like it's more early Kagyu, or it's early Sakya, or it's Nyingma, or it's Gelug, or Kadam. Now, with Marpa specifically, we've already dealt with the cropped hair a little bit. Early on, Marpa, generally I mean sculpture and paintings from pre 16th, 17th century, generally often he had long hair. Later on, he had what seems to be more like a cropped haircut, or a brush cut, or something akin to that. And this appears to be something that really developed more so under Situ Pension in the 18th century. So we don't need to really deal with that. But in terms of hand attributes and hand gestures, the vast majority of painting and sculpture of Marpa, and on the HAR website we have 28 examples where he has the 2 arms placed forward with the hands across the knees. This is by far and away the most common posture and iconographic appearance we see for Marpa. Now, in 7 cases, he's holding a skull cup in generally the left hand, but occasionally the right. In 3 examples on the HAR website, he's holding, he has the 2 hands in the teaching gesture. In 1 example, he's in the meditation gesture. And then in 2 examples, which are very late, one is a 20th century painting and one is a 20th century textile, then Marpa is holding a book. So it's very rare for Marpa actually to hold a book. And we do not find it in any early or mid-period painting or sculpture. Whereas with figures such as Rongzom Chokyi Lodro, then he is generally, almost always, holding a book. And that's one way we tell them apart. Dromton is usually holding a white lotus flower in his left hand, and never a book or a skull cup. And it's mostly the same with Sonam Semo and Trokpa Gyaltsen. They do not have the hands forward, and they also rarely hold a skull cup. So if you look at what the most common attributes and hand attributes and gestures are in posture, then you can begin to differentiate between some of these similar looking figures. So that was it. It's just a little a cleanup on discussing the iconography of Marpa and how he can be confused sometimes with Rongzum, Chukizongpo, Trokpa Gyaltsen, Sonam Semo, and Drongtompa. So you can press the like button, you can subscribe, you can join HAR on Patreon, and you can also make a donation on the homepage of Himalayan Art Resources.